We're now ready to stitch the edge of the casing to get it ready for the elastic. And so I'm going to just stitch a little bit to check to make sure my machine is threaded okay. Needle up, presser foot up, pull off to the left, and it should basically look the same on both the front and on the back. Sometimes when it looks funny, all you need to do is just thread either the top or the bobbin and you'll be ready to go. So this step I'm going to stitch in a circle, and the easiest way for me to do that is to remove the free arm. And I've backed out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I have my left hand underneath this part of the sewing machine. And if I pull gently, directly to my left, this whole thing comes off. And I'm going to put that to the side. Make sure when you get done you put it back on. One of the things that you'll notice though is that there is a space underneath here and you can actually stitch in a circle, which makes things like doing casings a whole lot easier. So I'm going to take my shorts and I'm going to slide them on at the back seam, and I want to start where I have my double pins. Okay, so this set of double pins is where I'm going to start, and this set of double pins is where I'm going to end, and this space in between here is going to be left open, and that's where I'm going to put my elastic in. So I'm going to slide in, and let me scoot back in with my camera here so you can see where I'm lining up. What I want to do is drop my presser foot down so that the little toe, the little silver toe, is riding in the valley and the rest of the foot is up on top of the hill. Okay, so this is the hill, this is the valley. You do not want the whole thing up on top of the casing. You want the toe off, the silver toe off, and the rest of the foot up on the top. And what that's going to do is give us a nice set of stitching about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Okay, this is something I'm checking, so do it accurately. Before I start sewing, I am going to take my 2 pins out because I'm right where I'm going to start, and I'm looking for my thread so I can grab a hold of it to get started. I'm going to do about 3 stitches forward, and then I'm going to back stitch. Maybe hit 4. I'm going to slow this down just at the beginning, and then I'm going to speed up in a second. You want to be really careful as you're doing this. This is important to be accurate. You don't want this to be wiggly all over everywhere, and you want to keep that little toe down in the valley and the rest of the foot up on top of the hill. Don't forget, you never want to stitch over pins, but don't take them out too soon. If you notice, I came to where the pin is right about where my foot is, and then I took it out, and then I'm going to stitch to the next pin. I tend to keep this hand up here like that, and a lot of times I will put this hand, let me back that out just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I will either put my hand like this or I put my hand like this. And what I'm doing is I'm feeling underneath to make sure that none of the rest of this stuff is getting caught as I'm sewing. I'm going to bump my speed up just a little bit. Okay, and this is where I'm watching. I'm almost to that pin, take it out. Stop periodically and rearrange everything. Again, you want to make sure that you feel underneath here and make sure that you're not getting any of the rest of your shorts caught. And I'm just stitching along. I'm getting to the side seam, and it's going to be a little bit thicker here, so I might want to slow down just a little bit going through that because you've got a bunch of layers of fabric right here. And I want to keep everything flat as I go through that. You can hear the needle making a little more noise as I go through that. And this right here, if you notice, there are several pins really close together. This is that spot where it was kind of ruffly, and I was worried about making sure that I didn't have a wrinkle. So I'm going to flatten everything out here. I'm actually not going to stitch all the way around on camera. I'm going to stitch just till I get past this pocket here, and then I am going to finish up off camera and meet you back at the end. So I am almost all the way around. I've got maybe about 5 or 6 more inches to stitch. And again, I'm just stitching along, watching to make sure that this little toe is staying in the valley and the rest of the foot is up on the hill. Now remember, we have to leave this opening in the back, so when you get to the double pins, don't forget you got to stop and back stitch there. Don't stitch all the way over to the beginning, because then you won't have any way to get your elastic in, and you're going to have to do a little bit of ripping. So I know I'm supposed to stop when I get to the end of my seam line, so that's where I'm stitching to. I'm going to slow down right when I get to there. One more stitch. I'm going to back stitch about 3 or 4 stitches, and then I'm going to stop, needle up, presser foot up, and pull off to my left and cut these threads. And then I want to go back in with my snips and get these threads all cut off before I do my next thing, because we don't want these threads getting caught up in our next bit of stitching. Where is that? There it is. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way just for a second so you can kind of see what I have done. And so I have stitched all the way around the upper edge. I left a little opening in the back right here. That's where my elastic is going to go in. I stitched close to this edge all the way around. Tried to make sure that I don't have any puckers. That's one of the things I'm going to check to make sure that I don't have any puckers along the way. Some of them can be pressed out if they are in there. Some of them cannot. Actually, I have a little pucker right here, and I'm going to have to take this part out and redo it before I put my elastic in. And that happens sometimes. If you're sometimes if you're going too fast, or if you just don't have it pinned right, you do have to do a little bit of ripping. So I have this one little spot that I am going to take out from here to here, and then I'm going to re-stitch it. I have to remember to back stitch at the beginning and at the end, otherwise this will come undone. See this little pucker right here? So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to fix it, and then we will put in our elastic.